This is Ernest Johnson, 61 years old, and he was convicted of murder 3 decades ago. On October 5th, 2021, Ernest was executed by lethal injection at a state prison. The tragedy is, the Missouri native's death was heavily disputed as Johnson's IQ test revealed he had the intellectual capacity of a child. His legal team and many congressional members believe his killing violated the Constitution as he was intellectually disabled. Ernest's story is far from the only questionable and dark spot on the history of capital punishment, as it is one of the most disputed topics in America. Through the research of academic articles and journals, I have determined that for reasons such as it being disproportionate towards certain groups, the fact that it provides no public safety benefit, and because the eye for an eye theory is immoral, the death penalty is wrong. Throughout the history of the death penalty, certain groups, such as racial minorities, have been subject to death sentences much more than others. It has been viewed as a direct descent of lynching that African Americans are disproportionately represented on death row. African Americans make up 42% of people on death row and 34% of those who are executed. Yet only 13% of the population is black, according to the Equal Justice Initiative. This is a clear injustice here that goes beyond the institution of prison, but to the death penalty as well. Part of this is attributed to biased juries and judges, as those who commit crimes against white victims are more likely to be sentenced to death. According to the Louisiana Law Review, it was found that the odds of death sentence were 97% higher for those whose victim was white than for those whose victim was black. This trend has surprisingly not changed throughout history, as this country has always had racial prejudice. In the age of Black Lives Matter movement, where our country has attempted to make further strides towards equality in several facets of society, it would seem obvious that a punishment system that is rooted in the histories and legacies of lynching, Jim Crow, racism, and classism should be abolished. Now I will discuss one of the biggest flaws of the death penalty. One of the biggest flaws of the death penalty is that there is no evidence that it actually deters crime, and thus doesn't provide any public safety benefit. In 2004, the average murder rate for states that used the death penalty was 5.71 per 100,000 people, as against 4.02 per 100,000 people in states that did not use it, according to Amnesty International. In addition, since 1990, no state that doesn't use the death penalty has had a higher murder rate in comparison to states that do. This data indicates that capital punishment doesn't reduce crime, and the theory that people are less likely to commit crimes in fear of the death penalty doesn't hold up. One respected professional on this issue, Dr. Jonathan Groner, an associate professor who researches the deterrent effect of capital punishment, said, "The psychological mindset of the criminal is such that they are not able to consider consequences at the time of the crime. Most crimes are crimes of passion that are done in situations involving intense excitement or concern. People who commit these crimes are not in a normal state of mind. They do not consider the consequences in a logical way." This proves that criminals aren't psychologically impacted by the death penalty, so its existence alone is questionable at best. The aforementioned reason and how the average murder rate is higher in states with the death penalty are both proof that the deterrence isn't a valid reason to support the death penalty, as it is a diabolical method of punishment. One of the biggest arguments in support of the death penalty, especially in the case of murder, is the eye for an eye argument, which states someone should be punished in a way that's equal to the offense. This means that in the case of murder, if you took a life, yours deserves to be taken as well. However, this method of the death penalty serves revenge more than justice. Just because someone took away human life, killing the perpetrator won't bring the victim back, and human life is too valuable to even put the worst murderers to death. It is taught in the earliest stages of life that two wrongs don't make a right, yet the death penalty is a direct contradiction to that. It is Gandhi who wrote, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind." And this quote is proving that vengeance is never the right answer, and the death penalty is heinous and inhumane. Today, I first discussed how the death penalty is disproportionate towards certain African American minorities. Second, I discussed how the death penalty provides no public safety benefit. And finally, I discussed how the eye for an eye theory is immoral. In a world of mass murderers and death that can happen in a matter of seconds, it is clear the human life is sacred, and even the worst humans deserve the right to live. The justice system, especially within the states that still apply the death penalty, favor certain groups on race and wealth, and those biases go against our country's values as a whole. As humans, we shouldn't be stripped of the right to live just because we are fundamentally flawed and make mistakes. And this is why the death penalty should be abolished nationwide. Thank you.